Aquarius, hello, and welcome to your winter 2024 into 2025 shapeshift reading. We're looking at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shapeshift looks and feels like for the winter season. I'm Andy, I'm your reader, and I'm joined today by the Wild Chorus Oracle deck by Abacus Corvus. Let's get into your shapeshift. This reading is meant to carry you through the entire winter season. So from the end of December at the winter solstice into March at the spring equinox. You should watch the reading when it drops in the winter. Watch it again midway through the season once you've actually lived through your shift experience a little bit. You'll have a lot more to bring to the reading and it will probably speak to you a lot more specifically. And then if you watch it again at the end of the season, you get that hindsight magic where you get to look back at how you shifted through the season and connect the dots, and it can be a surreal experience. So I recommend watching this reading thrice. Okay, Aquarius, what's your shapeshift for the winter? Whoa, okay. Okay, huh. Let's look at it together. So we have make your voice be heard. May your voice be heard. Shifting into you belong. Through tend the edges. Okay. So you're shifting into a sense of greater belonging by making your voice heard, or making sure that your voice is heard in some way, or like being listened to, people around you listening to you, and you also like voicing your presence. It's that exchange of voicing your presence and then feeling heard that cultivates that sense of belonging that you're shifting into through this season. And then we see you, looks like you and other people, because of the two blue jays, tending to the edges. So what exactly does that look like for you? We'll have to get into it. Tend to the edges feels like bringing your attention to things that are usually on the periphery. Okay, really interesting. So maybe that's because we have like, may your voice be heard, addressing things in your connections, in your relationships with others that you don't normally look at, or that you don't like, cleaning up these like little details, tending to the edges. It also makes me think of like understanding your boundaries, because edges are a boundary essentially. They're like the line between you and something else, or the line that separates experiences. So by tending to those edges, I'm like imagining tending to the tree line of a property. By tending to those edges, you get to know or see or sense what's right beyond, while also further defining where you are. And that happens when you are able to specifically communicate your bounds, like communicating what your edges are. And then that creates a better sense of connection and belonging with the people and the places and the environments that you find yourself in, the society. Okay, Let's read a little bit from the guidebook so that we understand this a little bit better. I want to actually start with tend to the edges because it seems to be the most mysterious. Tend the edges. Tend the edges. Okay. Boundaries. Great. Yeah. Edge magic. Attention to detail. All right. So we were getting it for sure. Like very beautiful. Actually, a lot of Virgo energy coming through there. Two blue jays fuss with a fiddlehead fern, one perhaps trying to eat the tight coil while the other holds only the stem. Here at the edge of daytime as it becomes night. Okay, so we're in like a shoulder season, which is interesting because at the winter solstice, when this reading begins for you, we are at that edge. We're at the darkest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, and we're at that edge where like the light starts to return. And then at the spring equinox, we're at an edge. So that's really interesting. Tending to the edges is like recognizing the in-between spaces. Maybe even like seasonally. Okay. Here at the edge, or even like within a day, attending to the sunrise and the sunset, the transition between day and night, between experiences or places or relationships. I don't know. Okay. Here at the edge of daytime as it becomes night, at the edge of winter as it becomes spring. Okay, there we go. We are called to notice our own edges and the edges that surround us. An edge is a magic place where one thing becomes another. It is where you becomes not you. Forest becomes prairie, shore becomes the sea. Edges foster complexity, uniqueness, communication, and variety. And it makes me think of foxes, the way that they dwell on those edge spaces and find like a really typically rich diet there because there's so much aliveness in those edge spaces. Are these blue jays wrestling over one fiddlehead when there are plenty behind them? Is one assisting the other? Have either of them simply spaced out and stopped paying attention? This card asks you to notice where you may be losing clarity and distinction. Have you lost touch with your own edges and what's happening within them? There may be a boundary to set, a conflict to face. Mars retrograde from December to February. Opposite your sign, okay, in Leo. Or a connection to tend to. This card can turn up when what you are considering will require some sort of negotiation, some sort of like boundary negotiation or like edge negotiation of each other's edges. Be ready to focus your energy and care in the service of right relationship and honoring difference. But yeah, maybe distance. On a mundane level, this card may be a reminder to put on lotion or trim your hair or advocate for your fair share of something. Okay, so now we're starting to get into may your voice be heard. Advocating for something like, okay, hey, when we do this, this is actually what I would prefer, or this is actually a boundary for me. And maybe you've never really expressed that fully, or maybe this is a chance for you to express that fully in order to feel a greater sense of like, you are of belonging, of like, you are allowed to speak your edges. And I love that even in the You Belong card, we have a very clearly defined perimeter. And it's like, when you have that clear perimeter, then you know where you belong. Okay, I belong inside of this space. defining those edges for yourself helps you feel safe and connected and loved and protected. And like you belong within something very clearly. So you're defining something, some sort of relational boundary, some sort of spatial and it may require that you advocate for yourself. Even if it seems like you're mincing, even if it seems like you're getting fussy about details, that's how you more like clearly carve out those edges of definition that then actually make everyone feel like safe and feel this sense of belonging, because then everyone's on the same page about where the edge is. Sharpen your focus, clarify your needs and wants. Know what you're reaching for and why. Listen for what is and what is not your voice. So there may be a need to sort of differentiate yourself from others in this time. Discern where limits or protection are needed. Redraw your inner map with a reminder that you are here. You know, Aquarius, your fall shift reading was called Next Level Collab, like a next level of collaborating with others, of being in connection and being in relationship with others. And I think this reading is really getting into the nitty-gritty of that. Like the next level of collaboration is communication, communicating your edges, your boundaries, and helping to very specifically and with detail and attention define parameters. Ultimately in service of greater connection and sense of safety and belonging. Okay, nice. Aquarius, it is your birthday season. I'm going to continue to pull cards now. We're going to create a really nice big spread to extrapolate on this and get the details. But it's your birthday, so I want to give you a little treat right here and now. So I'm going to continue this reading with Isabella Rotman's This Might Hurt tarot deck, as well as the companion This Might Help oracle deck. Okay, so let's start by drawing cards for This Might Hurt and This Might Help for you this winter season. Okay, This Might Hurt, Aquarius. Yeah, totally. Three of Swords and the Lovers. I mean, like, this is relational. Hello, here we are. Talking about where things have hurt, where you have felt like your boundaries have been crossed, or where you experience pain in your connections with the people that you are connected to. That is a really, yes, it might hurt to express that, to make that be known, to say, hey, listen, when you did this or when this happened, I felt this, it hurt me in this way, or it brought up something painful for me like this. So there needs to be this sort of like expressing of hurt so that this renegotiation of boundaries can happen. And ultimately, again, so that you can come closer together. But it does require some like nakedness, some stripping down to the rawness, and yes, also expressing pain, expressing where there has been injury or woundedness, or even if those things are past, like, hey, this past wound keeps coming up for me in our connection, and I need to talk about it so that we can get real. I mean, these two naked people, like, let's get real about this so that we know how to move forward. I also Can't ignore that this is a Garden of Eden moment. And the Garden of Eden, that like biblical myth, is this sort of space where the humans belong with clear parameters about where they can and cannot go within that space. Like, this is the Garden of Eden and that is outside of that. And there are parameters within this. So I just think that there is something about like defining the edges of like, this is our garden, the garden of our Eden, of our relationship. And these are the rules within it, or these are the like guidelines that prevent harm within that space. And this might be a relationship, but this could also be like a community space that you're involved in creating, or like even an online space, like boundaries within the online space and your connections there. Like, you know, who knows? Take it how it resonates. And obviously we'll get into it more now. But we gotta get what might help. Okay, so that might hurt, but this might help for Aquarius this winter. What might help? Oh, interesting. The hooded falcon. And I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, it's Earth. This card talks about like discipline. Let's read it for your birthday. Okay, self-discipline and control. Yeah, like we're talking about edges and we're talking about parameters and staying within those parameters, and the control, the discipline, the attention that is required to tend those edges together, not just one person doing that. Okay, interesting. It's reminding me of something here, Aquarius. You might think that it's only your responsibility to tend to your own boundaries or to your own edges. And while in some sense that is true, if you are to be in deep, intimate relationship with other people, friendship, romantic, family, work, what have you, if you were to be in close connection with others, sharing, it is actually your responsibility to not like secretly, privately tend to your own edges, but to involve the other person in that space, because otherwise they won't know where it is, and that's not fair. So you need to make your voice heard, to communicate specifically, so that both of you or everyone involved in the connection can get involved and hold a piece of that responsibility of tending to those edges, so in order to prevent harm, so that it's not just you going in and cleaning up the mess everybody keeps making of your boundaries without them actually knowing where your boundaries are. That's not fair. Okay, interesting. Let's look at the hooded. I thought about that because of the hooded falcon, like the falcon can't see. So you need to be super clear. All right, let's look at this. So it's talking about willpower, this hooded falcon, self-discipline, intellect. It may appear that the intellect and spirit are repressed, but by restraining the gifts, she is able to direct them effectively. So while talking about like edges and boundaries and parameters might seem repressive or restrictive, it actually helps further foster creativity and connection, because it helps to like structure and direct things. Okay. And like she's able to direct them effectively. She's successful because she focuses, plans, and persists. She's committed and determined, and discipline has allowed her to advance far. Focus your gifts, make a plan, persevere, and you will succeed. Nice. Make a plan. Define the edges. Communicate your needs. and you will succeed. Okay. Very nice first half of this reading. So if you want to get into this with me now, click the link in the description below, and that will take you to the shifting space where we will investigate these readings together as a community throughout the winter season. We will track the transits as they happen in real time. We will discuss them on a Discord channel. We'll watch the readings together. We'll pull cards for each other. If that sounds like the kind of space you're into, I hope to see you there, and happy birthday, Aquarius. Oh, and if you want a birthday reading with me to look at the tarot and astrology for the wheel of your year, click the link in the description to go to my website, read all about it. You know where to find me. All right. Aquarius. Whoa. Let's get into this now. Okay.